today we dive into the popular work of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, The Social Contract Theory. We will dive into the foundational ideas of the social contract. So, his work begins with a startling observation that man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. So, Rousseau isn't merely making a poetic statement here. So, he's issuing a challenge why, if freedom is natural to us, do we live bound by systems of control, hierarchy, and governance? So Rousseau takes us on a journey back to the roots of human association. He begins with the most basic unit of the society, which is the family. So in childhood, we are naturally dependent on our parents, but as we mature more on, we regain independence. So this suggests that legitimate bonds among people beyond the family must be based not on dependence or force, but on the mutual agreement. So the moment those natural ties end, if people chooses to remain united, it must be voluntarily. So this becomes a um, cornerstone of his political vision. So legitimate authority must be founded on consent. So Rousseau firmly rejects the idea that power justifies itself. He has a statement which says that might makes right is in his size both dangerous and absurd. So that force can compel obedience. Yes, it cannot create. Yes, but it cannot create duty or justice. If someone holds a gun to our head and we submit, does that mean we're morally bound to obey them? Of course not. So, political legitimacy must be grounded in something more than brute strength. So, that's why it must be rooted in a shared commitment towards a goal or towards common good. So, he extends this reasoning towards slavery. So, for Rousseau, no man has a natural authority over another, and no person can rightfully sell themselves into slavery. So, to give up one's liberty is to give up one's essence as a human being. So, according to Rousseau, liberty is not just something we possess, it is what makes us who we are. Even a whole people argues that you cannot truly alienate yourself towards a collective freedom towards a monarch or a despot. So such contract would be invalid because it destroys the condition of being a human or being a human being. So now, even if there are countless rulers who conquers and subdues a people by force, this does not create a legitimate political community. So submission under coercion does not equal consent. So for a society to be born, not merely an aggregation of subjects, but a collective identity, there must be a foundational act of unity. And so Rousseau introduces his central concept, which is the social contract. Now, the social contract is not a surrender. It is a transformation. It is an act which individuals come together and agree to form a collective general will. So, general will represents the collective will of the people, laws to be legitimate. So, it must reflect this general will. So, when individuals obey the general will, they are actually obeying themselves as a member of a society or a collective society. So, a sovereign that represents them all, they become both a citizen and a subject. And because everyone is equal in this arrangement, no one is above the law, and um, all are protected by the law. So, um, this agreement also includes all that we possesses. So, property in Rousseau's view, it becomes legitimate only through recognition by the collective. So, ownership is no longer just about who can take and keep. It's about who has a rightful claim under a shared agreement. So, the community as a whole secures and affirms that right. So, without this recognition, property is merely usurpation. It becomes lawful and stable. And yet the social contract does not erase inequality entirely. What it does is replace natural inequalities with moral and legal equality. So everyone, regardless of strength or status, becomes equal in rights and duties. So that is what turns a scattered group into a people, and a people into a state. Now, let's talk about what are the key claims of Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract theory. So, one of the key claims is that people must surrender the individual will to the general, to their individual will to the general will. So, yes, it represents the common good. And next is that sovereignty resides in the people, and not in a king or any divine ruler. So, if we're going to compare it to the work of Thomas Hobbes, the Leviathan, Thomas Hobbes believed that people surrender their rights to an absolute sovereign to escape a violent state of nature. And if we're going to compare it to John Locke's theory, he saw that the social contract is a way to protect natural rights, which is life, liberty, and property. So he advocates a limited government with the right to revolt. So Rousseau's social contract differs by emphasizing collective sovereignty and equality, and by believing that people can remain free only when subject to laws of their own making. So, next is the strengths and weaknesses of the social contract. So, for the strengths, that it emphasizes participatory democracy and equality. So, it raises it, and for the weaknesses is the risk of tyranny of the majority and suppressing minority views in favor of collective unity. So, are the assumptions still relevant today? So, yes, some of them. The belief in citizen participation in lawmaking is seen in practices like referendums and public consultations and representative democracy. And that is all. Thank you.